Hello and welcome to the Nerds at Large Spoilercast for Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 1.
That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. It's going to be a mouthful all season long. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I am Jeff Mayo.
And Jeff, it's Game of Thrones season.
Yes.
It's back. It's been over a year.
Yep.
It's been a long wait.
Yep,
Especially when you're as obsessed with this series as I am.
Yep.
But it's finally here. So, Jeff, it is literally like 11 o'clock on Sunday night. We just watched it not very long ago.
Yeah, I'll say we didn't just watch it. We watched it over an hour ago.
Yeah, but you know, it's still fresh. It's still pretty fresh at least.
Yes.
So, what do you think about this opening episode?
I liked it.
I liked it as well. It was definitely it's definitely an opening episode. Like, there's lots of setup.
Yeah, they used all the storylines that you would, respect for the season and started them.
Yeah, like we were actually trying to think if there was any storylines that they didn't touch on at some point in this episode. We really couldn't. Like, I think they pretty much hit everything at some point or another. And I was a little surprised, like, not in a bad way. I'm not saying anything bad, but I was a little surprised by how it still felt like a Game of Thrones episode, like a normal one from other seasons. Like, in the fact that we did hit like a bunch of different storylines. But what's kind of exciting about this versus other seasons is while like there were still a bunch of different storylines we're jumping around, almost all of them, and especially all the major ones, are starting to like reference each other and starting to show that they're actively going towards each other.
Yeah. It's an exciting thing. We've seen the end goals or whatever for all these storylines, or see kind of where they're going, but Game of Thrones, so who knows what they'll actually do with them.
Yeah.
We're seeing how they're all connecting, and now, I mean, we saw that like last season, but even the show is now talking about how these storylines are connecting.
You're right. Yeah, and you have like characters mentioning other characters that we've like never heard them or very rarely heard them mentioned before.
Yeah, it's in a way it's weird to hear Cersei like say Daenerys.
I know, and it's weird how we're so invested in this world that even her just mentioning Daenerys got me excited.
Yeah,
which is awesome. All right, well, Jeff, you know what we're gonna do, listeners. The way we're gonna do this, we're gonna take it storyline by storyline. We're gonna start in the north, I think, this episode, but we're gonna take it for every single storyline. We're gonna full spoilers, by the way. If you have not seen the first episode of season 7, why in the world are you listening to this? It's full spoilers. We're not gonna have any spoiler-free section because no point in that for this.
Yeah. Like, is the episode good? Yes. Onward.
Yep. Anyway, all right. Well, starting in the north, Jeff.
The north.
We're gonna start there. I think the first big thing that jumped out to me was the Sansa Jon scene, like in the throne or the like Winterfell whatever cafeteria
conference room,
whatever. Where they're talking about the Karstarks and Umbers and like what to do with their houses, and in case you've forgotten, they're the ones who they were Stark bannermen, but they chose the Boltons in that battle. Traitors, and deciding what to do with that house. And Sansa kind of questions Jon right in front of everyone and makes it kind of awkward for him. What did you think about this scene?
I thought it was good just because of the fact I think both the arguments made by Sansa and Jon are actually fair. It's not. It doesn't feel like something the writer just came up with for the sake of drama.
Right.
And yeah, it's interesting. Like, Jon put his foot down, saying no, we're doing this.
Yeah, I kind of thought that he was gonna say the other way, just looking at his face and the whole air in the room, and it was kind of like, I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna stay on his ground on this. And what struck out to me is this. I like this, at least just in that scene, because obviously at the end of last season they were already starting to sow some conflict between Sansa and Jon, and they didn't trust each other.
Making Sansa hey, what if you were in his spot?
Right, yeah. And there's a lot of that going on, and that's still kind of the undercurrent of this. But I thought that scene, that's I like that conflict between them a lot more. That seems more believable to me
than whatever they came up with for, I guess, Sansa not telling Jon that the Knights of the Vale were coming.
Which, I guess we didn't have spoilercast for the last one. That infuriated me. I love season 6, but God, that was just bad writing.
I am also forgetting something. Yeah, I see no reason why she wouldn't tell him.
No, they literally just, in episode 10, I thought there was going to be some actual explanation, but they just kind of like wrote it off. She was like, yeah, sorry for doing that. And he's like, oh, okay, it's okay.
Don't
like,
do it again.
Don't, you like literally let like a bunch of our men die because you wouldn't tell. Yeah, it's dumb. Yeah. But this, like, it made sense. Like, it made sense for her to think that way and for him to think the way he was, because it's just their different styles of leadership and their experiences. Yeah. Like, Sansa has gone through a lot, and like that loyalty probably means a lot to her, and she is more like it's kind of the more like the aggressive leadership versus the forgiving leadership.
And something Jon mentioned at some point later on when Sansa meets Cersei is like, it seems like you kind of look up to Cersei or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Like, and Sansa's argument was more of an argument Cersei would make.
Yeah. It's a scary thought, but yeah.
Not to that extreme, but you see it kind of.
And when just like, well, in under the same token of like remind you of someone, but not to the extreme, Sansa brought up, said, Joffrey doesn't like let people give him. He's like, do you think I'm Joffrey? And then she said, that's when she came back down and said, you're as far from Joffrey as anyone could be. So it's, like, and I love that scene. I love the tension between them, and I also equally loved when they brought it back down, and they were like, in the end of the day, they're brother and sister, and they're like, So I thought that whole scene was just really well done.
Yeah,
with that,
we'll be seeing there a lot of scenes in this episode.
We will. It was a very good episode. There's a lot of good to say about this.
Yes.
And also up here, like what's very exciting to me was when we were talking at the top of this about the different storylines and different people like connecting. Jon actually got like a threat from Cersei, saying, because like she obviously has heard that he's the king of the North now, and she's not having that.
She's trying to buckle down this now that she's queen. Be like, hey, you're either with me or against me, and we will kill you if you're against me.
Right. And I feel like there's a theme in this episode on like having enemies on all sides of you, because like Jon was saying like, we have the White Walkers to the north, and Sansa's like, she's a world away. They're a world away. Sansa's not that far away, and he's like, Cersei's not that far away, and he's like, Cersei really is, they have like Cersei behind them and the White Walkers in front of them, and then Cersei has
I think they said every direction,
every single side. Cersei has enemies.
I'll walk around a map pointing them out.
Yeah. So, what do you like? I guess the most interesting thing to go from here, what do you think will be Jon and Sansa's and the whole, like, that whole group up there's answer to the fact that they have the White Walkers marching ahead of them, but then they also have political struggles?
I feel like, and I feel like Jon actually brought this up, the fact that, like, and I knew someone said this, correct me if it was someone else, Jon saying, I saw the Night's King or whatever. Like, so,
yeah, he said that.
So, saying, I think, right, telling Sansa, like, if you saw this, your priorities would be different too. Because right now, Jon's is the White Walkers, Sansa is, well, Cersei.
Because she's seen Cersei, and he's seen the Night King,
Yeah, so that might be the main conflict that it could turn into, is, like, arguing what the priority of the North should be.
Right. And that could be another thing between those two, between Sansa and
Jon. And obviously, right now, Jon has all the North with him except for kind of the Knights of the Vale. Technically, he has them, but they're really with Sansa more than anything. Just Littlefinger.
Yeah.
So that could turn into a conflict, and of course, some people could go with Sansa if for some reason the conflict and they decide to fight for whatever reason.
Right.
That could be something.
And that could be part of what maybe lets the White Walkers go, like, get past them if they're kind of divided like that.
Yeah, because Jon could be fighting against Sansa, or we'll get into this later, probably against Cersei / Daenerys, someone else.
Yeah.
Jon could be fighting anyone then tied into
That's
this.
what I love about this so much is there's these 3 different kind of armies and faction, like big factions right now, and there's other factions there like
technically 4. Jon, Cersei, Daenerys, I guess the White Walkers. If you're counting.
I didn't count the White Walkers. Yeah, the White Walkers.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, no, they're probably like they're like the biggest faction of all, probably, but like or the scariest at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess 4 total, and then there's other little ones that are kind of like hitching on to these now, like Dorne and Highgarden hitching on to Daenerys, and Euron's trying to go with Cersei and all this. One thing though that I just thought about, and I guess we're kind of like we'll probably talk about it more when we get to the Hound, but if there is a conflict between what the priority is between the White Walkers and then like Cersei, I wonder if the Hound coming up to the wall and like or in Winterfell like up north, and obviously Sansa and the Hound have like a history with like everything that happened in King's Landing. I wonder if him coming up there and being so adamant, like now that he's seen the White Walkers like in the flames and stuff, I wonder if he could like convince Sansa or like something like him and Beric Dondarrion's group coming up there. I could potentially see that being like right when the heat's getting really bad with Sansa and Jon. Maybe that could be like something that would change it.
That could be.
That's just something random I thought about because
how doesn't know we're talking about could have so many possibilities. Like what you just mentioned, fighting the mountain. Like part of me is thinking, are they even going to do that, or that's just something they just won't do?
I feel like you gotta use them at some point. We're like, I don't know about you, but I'm itching to see him fight somebody. It's kind of a dark curiosity.
But
morbid curiosity. But
it
where
like
does that fit? Yeah, where does
that logically fit with what we know right now? And you could potentially say the Hound could do something that involves Arya with their history.
Yeah, but then now the Arya's going. Yeah, but
not saying it makes much sense as the other ones, but it's something.
Well, everyone, myself included, kind of assumed that the mountain was going to be like trial by combat for Cersei, like you know. But then that didn't end up happening. So it's like now he's just like a scary knight that scares people, but we haven't really seen him. And he tortures Septus apparently.
Yes,
we really haven't seen him actually like fight in a real fight.
No, I think he killed a couple scrubs, but that's about it.
Yeah, he smashed some dude's head into a wall. Yeah. Also, staying in the north, we've kind of already been talking about it, but we clearly saw a big shot of the White Walkers marching south.
Yeah, and Bran was doing his psychic mumbo jumbo.
Yes, yeah. so like they're moving, they're on the move. Like that's. And it looked like the whole gang was on the move, so... Yeah,
I guess part of it is it's interesting. We know they're on the move, but they didn't really give us a clear idea of, like, where they are compared to the wall. Like, how long technically will
how many episodes are they away in that way?
Or how long in Game of Thrones.
You're right, yeah.
How many times can Varys go from Dorne to a ship?
Oh, lots. I was happy. I did, like, correct me if I'm wrong, if you, like, got anything else, but just from certain, like, hints of people talking, I do think they actually did do a time skip, like a noticeable time skip.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I expected it because... Yeah.
I expected it too, but like that was one of those things that if there wasn't one, then Varys being on that ship would have made zero sense. But like it does seem like there was, because like Cersei was even like, you've been quiet the last few months or something, or whatever she said. Like I don't really think it was months, but there was multiple different things like that made it seem like there was.
Oh yeah, I knew there was going to be a time. That'd just be a giant overlook, and there's nothing in the episode that made me say like, okay, this happened definitely after that, other than the scenes kind of being close together.
Yeah. Oh, and it even takes I imagine it takes a while to sail an entire fleet across the narrow sea. Like that would probably take a while to do it anyway.
Oh, yeah, that didn't bug me as much as you and other people.
Well, it was like as long as this season didn't start off immediately like after that, which I was just worried that.
I guess. Yeah. Plus, it seemed Bran made a fair amount of progress.
Yeah, but I was worried about that because like there have been times in the past where the show really has screwed up with with time. Like Littlefinger, there's been times where he's moved across the map way faster than is actually realistic. So there was a chance of them messing up that bad, but they didn't. So I was happy about that. So Bran is at the wall.
Yes,
Dollar said let him in, and he obviously. Again, like correct me if I'm wrong. We've just seen this once or whatever. But it seemed like, Ed was saying, like, how do I believe that you are who you are? And then he basically just said all these things, like, you were at Hardhome, you were at all these other things, like, basically things that Bran shouldn't know.
Yeah.
That he obviously probably saw in visions.
That no one should know, especially about a specific person, that's not at the wall.
Yeah.
Or maybe just Ed would know.
So, like, I'm wondering what's the extent of Bran's powers at this point? Because, like, he literally just looked at this man, and he's like...
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know Dolores Ed, but he was, like, just... looked at him and he's like, you were at Hardhome, he said all this stuff. So can he basically just look at someone and know everything about them and know their past and stuff?
Maybe. Yeah, it could be a hint of what Bran could do at this point.
Yeah.
Because again, if there is a time skip and he's practiced this more.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like Bran's powers are kind of still a question mark. We don't completely understand like everything that he's capable of. And I think that's going to come into play later. Like,
and the interesting thing about this is, he's at the wall now. That's a raven away to Jon knowing that Bran is alive and at the wall.
Yeah,
knows where he is for once.
Yeah, I'm sure whether it's next episode or it's the one after or something, Bran and Jon are going to meet.
Yeah,
and like I'm sure R plus L equals J is going to come into that. Like, or, who the fact that Jon is Lyanna's son is going to come into that. Like, he's going to tell him that, which I'm sure we'll be talking more about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing in the north that's worth speaking is that Sansa. I was kind of pleased to see that Sansa was kind of like having enough of Littlefinger. Like, she wasn't really succumbing to him quite as much.
Yeah.
And like I absolutely love the don't bother having the last word. I'll just guess that it was something clever. Like, that was almost like the joke, show like poking fun at itself for having like all of Littlefinger's lines are always like this clever thing that he
always gets the last word and then he walks away and makes the person ponder.
Yeah, like I love that line so much. That was the best line in the show, I think, in this episode.
Did you want to bring up one more thing with the North, the wildlings thing, or the free folk?
I did miss that. You're right. Yeah. So the wildlings are Jon ordered them to man the walls. Like,
he didn't order because wildlings do what they want.
Exactly.
He asked
them to man the castles and the wall to guard the White Walkers. And if no one really thought about this, if you didn't think about this when you saw it, the Hound's vision, he saw White Walkers marching on the wall at a castle by the sea, which they're one of the, like, I know this from the books, one of the castles on the wall is by the sea. Like, one of them is on the far edge by the sea. So I'm guessing that sometime this season there's probably going to be, we're going to see White Walkers attack this castle that's probably manned by wildlings, and probably not nearly enough wildlings, and they're probably going to get decimated, and that's probably how the White Walkers are going to get through. That's what I would guess.
Yeah, so I don't read the book. I'm just going to take your word for it. I kind of figured it was that thing, just piecing all together. Oh, I guess also, we'll just say this. There are going to be some light book spoilers.
Light book spoilers. I'm not going to go too much in. By the way, I've read the books. Jeff has not. That's where we are. So I know some things. But again, we're so far past it that most of the things I know is just speculation anyway. Yeah. Like, because the book, there hasn't been a book in so long.
We won't bring out the specific thing, but there's one thing Darby has a good idea what something might be.
I do, and if I figure out that it's right later on in these, I'll say so in the next spoilercast. But I'm not going to say it before it happens. So
yeah, I mean, if you have more clues to figure out it's exactly that, maybe don't say it. Just leave it a surprise for the people.
That's what you mean. I'm saying I'm going to wait until it's out there before I say anything.
Okay,
yeah, no spoilers here. No spoilers. All right, Jeff. Any last word on the North?
Nope. Yeah.
Lots of I was
a lot of interesting things.
Yeah, I was happy with how they did it. We knew we were gonna get a lot of Jon and Sansa and everything, like, going into.
Got a little White Walker the Bran action.
Yeah.
Enough to set it to where we think, where are they going from there?
There's gonna be more Bran, I'm sure, because we only got a little bit, and he just got to the wall, and they had a lot of ground to cover in this episode. So, I get that. Well, Jeff, let's move down south to King's Landing, where Jeff, Cersei's kind of screwed, isn't she?
Yeah, part of me thought so, and then the show brought it up, and like, yeah, Cersei's screwed.
Like she has.
Cersei's just in denial.
They even like. I love that they like. Everyone was talking about like, yeah, like Daenerys really has the upper hand here. Like Cersei's kind of like doesn't really have the numbers or anything like that.
Well, it doesn't help when she kills like half of King's Landing
and like draws all of her allies away. Yeah, but I love how they even had them like they were walking on the map and they're like, yeah, look up there.
They hate us. They hate us. They hate us. Oh, these guys liked us. They all mysteriously died.
Huh. Yeah, and I love it. Like, yeah, Jamie was just like, girl, look what you've done.
You have no friends.
And that was like, I thought that was a very like strong line when she was like, we'll like, whoever wins this war will have a dynasty. And he's like, a dynasty for who? He's like, we're it. And
yeah, that currently make things like, oh yeah, if I know, I guess it'd be Jamie, but after them, who would get it? Because literally everyone's dead.
Like, no, honestly,
it'd have to be a Lannister, like, that's far removed, technically.
Yeah, like, I have a feeling, like, whenever Cersei dies, it's going to be because Daenerys is taking the throne. But if Cersei were to die before that, I don't even have a clue what would happen. Like, I feel like it would just be chaos, probably.
I mean, it'd be Jamie if Cersei was the only one.
Jamie would not want it.
Yeah.
I think Jamie would bail. I think Jamie would just get out of there. Because Jamie's never wanted to have it. So, have the throne. And I thought that was a strong line because, like, that's one of the things that we've talked about a lot with this show is that everyone's, like, striving for power, but we've always thought that, like, once they get it, it's probably going to be bittersweet because once they get it, they're not going to, like, what do you have power over or what's the point? Mm-hmm. And this is where that kind of got, and I love, like, the facial acting with Lena Headey and can never pronounce Jamie's the guy's name. It's a weird name. But their facial acting was really good because when she said, like, a dynasty, have a dynasty, he said a dynasty for who? And she said, a dynasty for us then. Like, he looked genuinely concerned. Like, he was looking at her like, what are you, like, you've, like...
Yeah. Was that before or after? He's like, hey, we haven't talked about our son committing suicide.
I think that was right before. I think they then talked about that. And that was, I mean, they're two of the strongest actors in the show, I think. Oh, yeah. Like, and they're, especially when they're acting together. Like, and that whole scene was just very emotional to me. That was very strong.
Yeah, I mean, as much as people hate Cersei, but it's the kind of you love to hate her type thing. Yeah. It's, in a way, it makes me happy, like, even if they, Jamie and Cersei die soon, we've had them for the most of the run.
Which they're, like, one of the biggest parts of what makes the show amazing. I mean, like, because... I mean, like, Cersei is one of the most distinctive characters in television and books or whatever. And that's one of... There's a lot of times where, like, I obviously prefer the books a lot of times. But I actually do prefer Lena Headey's, like, show Cersei over the book Cersei. Because I think that she just kind of brings the character to life in a way that's, like, really interesting to me. Yeah.
And Jamie, his whole... story. It's been very interesting to watch you went from hating him to like, do I like Jamie? And it's like this middle line at this point.
And it's never like he had a redemption arc, but it's not your normal redemption arc because he never it was like you didn't like him and then you didn't know how you felt about him. Then you started to not like him again, but then you started to like him. You've never really been all the way. You're like, and that's what it's so like cool how these characters. None of these characters are gray. I mean, all these characters are gray like that. Yeah. So also in King's Landing, what I kind of expected to happen, Euron, now that Daenerys, like, he wanted to go get with Daenerys, he's figured out that's off the table because Yara and Theon beat him to it. So he is going to Cersei now. Yeah.
Good taste in women.
Yeah. I kind of saw that coming. But it's interesting the way it is. Like, I kind of thought that if he came to Cersei, Cersei was going to be so desperate that there's no way that she was going to turn him down.
Cersei is unfortunately, and she's so prideful that she'll never show weakness, even if it's being her downfall.
And this was a situation where I think that Jamie was kind of jealous that he wasn't even really thinking about what was best for everything anyway, because of that whole, like, she obviously said that to piss him off, basically. Like, you know, he's looking for a queen and just walk away. Like, you know what I mean? So. Yeah.
He's not getting my sister lover, says Jamie.
It's so weird that we, like, it's been going on for so long now that we don't even really think, like, yeah, it's incest, but okay, whatever. It's just...
Yeah, okay, just a weird note. We had two friends who've never watched Game of Thrones watching with us for some reason because we were at, a birthday party.
Which made me sad.
But. Yeah. One of them in particular who probably didn't know this incest thing was going on. Unfortunately, she was just out of it most of the time, which I don't exactly blame her because she doesn't know anything that's going on.
Watching a show in season 7 that you haven't watched before, yeah.
I would interested to see her reaction, her just listening to Cersei be like, you know, saying like, we're brother and sister, and then next sentence, our children.
Yeah.
And her being like, wait, what?
Wait, huh?
She probably was not listening.
Yeah, I don't think she was paying close enough attention. But, yeah. I mean, it'd be very interesting to see. I don't even know what that perspective is like to walk into Game of Thrones in season 7 and not know anything.
It's, again, like you said, it's normal to us now hearing them talk about that.
Yeah, like, the weirdness hasn't completely gone away, but we've gotten used to it. Like, at this point, we don't really actively think about it all the time.
Nope.
And yeah, so she turned him down, but I think he's coming back. He's coming back. He says he's offering her, he's going to bring her a present or something. Like, so I think he's going to end up being in this thing. Like, I think they're going to end up being on the same side by the time Daenerys gets here. Yeah. I think. Yeah.
Or Cersei betrays Euron in some way, shape, or form.
Or he's going to swoop in there like the Vale Knights did in the Battle of the Bastards.
And then even Cersei and Jaime are all like, wait, what's happening? Why are they here?
Yeah, what?
Like, we saved you. Like, no one wanted this.
Yeah. Could be interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, do you have any words about Euron or Cersei or anything going on in King's Landing?
No, again, just to see where it goes.
Yeah, what are Cersei's odds? I mean, like, Daenerys has a lot of plot armor and numbers. Like, it's just not looking good for Cersei.
Main question for Cersei is, who's she going to fight first?
Yeah, there's so many enemies.
Yeah. Is Dorne going to go away from Daenerys and attack a little bit?
Yeah.
Or... you know, the whole plan is a sneak attacks, Dorne people go in.
Yeah, I don't know what Daenerys' plan is, and I don't know if like Daenerys' entire fleet landed at Dragonstone or some other ones landed in other places. I don't know exactly. Yeah, it's hard. You know, obviously we don't know enough from this episode, but it could be interesting to see what Daenerys' plan of attack is exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
we'll find out soon. Probably.
There's a lot of question marks when it comes to Cersei and just King's Landing in general. But there has to be an equalizer, and I think Euron is part of that equalizer. Mm-hmm. And then,
but I feel like people shit on the Greyjoys and the Ironborn and everything. It's like, will this really help? I mean, it's just the characters keep talking about. It's like, is this really a big deal?
And then just in comparison to like the Dorne, Highgarden, Dothraki, Unsullied. So like Daenerys is stacked more Ironborn. Yeah. The Ironborn is split in half basically between them anyway.
Yeah. Something like the Ironborn, the way they can always make it sound, the Ironborn would have been better attacking Daenerys before she landed.
Yeah, on the sea. Yeah. Like at this point, it's like, I mean,
she's
I guess
already there.
There is like King's Landing is still like, you know, there's the sea. Mm-hmm. Like there was the Battle of the Blackwater. I mean, I guess they could do something, but at this point, I mean, Daenerys doesn't have to approach by sea. Daenerys could approach wherever she wants, but it's not like like when Stannis was attacking, the entire land was rattled by war. Like there was battles going on all over the place. Right now, it's just kind of up for grabs.
Daenerys attacked by sea, attacked by land, attacked by sky.
Both, all three.
Yeah,
like she can kind of do whatever she wants.
I'm really trying to get more people at this point.
that's next.
Attack from underground.
Sand dragons.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, Jeff. Let's move on again. And let's move on to maybe the most surprising and most probably like a hype, like what in the world is happening moment in the entire show. And it happened before the opening song even started.
Yeah, at first I was like, wait, do they always have a scene before the song? I can't remember anymore.
No, like, the only other time I remember them doing that was the Hound reveal, like, last season. Whenever they revealed that the Hound was still alive, they had that. Because I legitimately, it was so happy that I thought that I clicked on the wrong show. Like, I legitimately got up to go check my laptop to see if I had accidentally clicked on some other HBO show. And then doo-doo-doo. I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, as soon as, like, it cut, like, there was no theme song, I was like, oh, boy. All right, this means it's something big that they want to do on. And I saw Walder Frey, which, I mean, like, it didn't take me long. Like, I'm sure you might have gotten it immediately. It didn't take me long, but when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is weird because he was supposed to be dead. I was like, is this a flashback? Like, the two things that I thought was either flashback or weird brand time shenanigans.
Yeah,
those are the two immediate thoughts. Like, Arya didn't come to my head immediately. It didn't take long, but it wasn't immediate.
Yeah, I thought of flashback for a split second. It's like, then I realized, why would they do a flashback for him during this? Then I was like, okay, Arya has his face. It went that really quickly.
I got it pretty fast. Like, really, basically, as soon as they started passing out the drinks or whatever, and he was like,
before that, I was like, okay, this is obviously Arya at this point. It's like, okay, drinking.
Yeah.
The more it's like, I know what's happening here.
I started figuring that when they were pouring the glasses, and then especially when, like, they raised the glass and then put it right back down, I was like, yep.
And especially nope, you don't drink.
Yeah, like, you are all gonna die.
So Arya's like, so Arya, I have no problems with you.
Yeah, basically.
You're also a victim in all this.
So, like, what? She wiped out the phrase in one swoop.
Yeah.
This is basically the Red Wedding in reverse.
I mean, you gotta assume that was pretty much in a 24-hour period, technically, because there's no way she could have killed Walder Frey and then did it for an extended period of time, I guess.
Yeah, I'm guessing that her scene was kind of like they flash back to her scene, and then whenever we see her with Ed Sheeran, I'm guessing that's when her time jump happened. That's just what I'm gonna guess. But, whatever. But, I mean, like, I just assumed that seeing Walder Frey die was all the redemption we were going to get from the Red Wedding, and that was enough. I was like, that was crazy that she killed him. Never did I think we would get this. Where it's like, again, it's the Red Wedding payback. They're all dead. Like, she killed everyone.
Yeah. And, like we mentioned before, we were at a, viewing party. Everyone who have watched Game of Thrones before, after that scene and into the opening sequence, we were like, yes!
Yeah, we were like, what? That was hype. That was pretty crazy.
Great way to open a season.
Oh, it was. But, I mean, like, it's hard to, like, get over that, but the implications of that is crazy, just because, especially, I mean, like, it would mean more, it'd probably mean more in the different times than it would mean more, like, in the book canon or whatever, but the fact that, like, even Jamie was saying, like, that was basically the Lannister's only friend left.
Friend.
I don't know if anyone is really friends with the phrase.
Yeah. They tolerate them because they might work with them.
Yeah. But I thought that whole scene was shot really well, and just Arya, it just, we'll get into it. We'll talk about the next thing first. We see her, first off, like, do you know you knew Ed Sheeran, right? Did you recognize him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I remembered at some point, I knew some musician was in here. I remember.
I knew he was going to be in it. I didn't know he was going to be in the first episode like this. All right. I want your perspective on it. I think it was a bad choice, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I couldn't look at him and think Game of Thrones character. It took me out. It took me out of it,
especially when they had him sing.
Yeah,
like it made me kind of. I mean, obviously, I didn't remember the episode for me or anything to that degree, but it just felt like it was one of those things that happen in other TV shows, which is, hey, here's our random famous guest star.
It seemed too cheesy for something as, like, serious as Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's like to have this, like, crazy weird character.
I mean, and as I guess weird / petty as it sounds, I feel like the scene would have felt a little better. Yeah, if it was some random actor doing the singing, still singing a song because nights out there like traveling every day, and having a little fun.
That's a real song from the Game of Thrones, like the books. Yeah. The song they were singing, and that's a real thing. Yeah, that happens all the time. And also, like, even if Ed Sheeran was there, it still would have been weird to me. But also the fact that they like put the camera right on his face and then put it on his face again, and then put it on his face again.
Keep on showing it like, hey guys, look who we have.
Like, it should have just been something like, oh, there he was. Like, if you knew he was coming, and that was it. Like, you had to be kind of paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they would have shot it like they would a normal scene if he wasn't there, and it just happened to be him.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, again, it might be because we knew it was Ed Sheeran and we was kind of noticing it more, but yeah, it just felt different than a normal Game of Thrones scene.
Yeah. Which it shouldn't. Yeah. I hope they don't try that again. Like, with other stuff there. Like, everyone wants to get in on the Game of Thrones thing, but I just...
just kind of do it like they did with the band Mastodon. They just had him with the White Walkers.
Yeah, and even Sigur Rós or whatever, like it's this European like musician dude or whatever. They did a song. He did a song at Joffrey's wedding, like in season 4. But they were just like the bard people playing, and you just saw them for like one frame, and then the song just kept going, and it didn't take you out of it the same way. They're also not as big as Ed Sheeran, so whatever. But anyway, moving on from Ed Sheeran, who took up like five minutes.
Okay, real quick. Are they gonna go back to Ed with them? That's the thing. Like, she was looking at the swords and stuff, and thinking, okay, she's just gonna kill them all right here.
I was worried about and they might still.
I mean, the way they led is like, okay, is she gonna be with them next time we see Arya, or?
There's a chance, and there's also a chance that was just basically a little character moment and a little way for her to hear what's going on in the world, and a way for us to hear that she's what
her plan is.
Yeah, that she's planning to go down the King's Landing. That's what, if I had to guess, I think that's all it was, and we won't see them again.
Yeah, but I kind of hope so.
Yeah,
that's the case.
So. And like, I think maybe she eyed the swords, but then she started drinking with them and hanging out with them. So I'm thinking, hopefully, she doesn't have malicious intent anymore.
Yeah, they kept on doing things like, even with her drinking fast, think, okay, she's gonna do this, and suddenly start stabbing them all. And then when she said, "I'm going to King's Landing to kill the Queen," they all looked at each other like, oh shit. And then they did the laugh thing, which was fine.
Yeah.
But it's kind of doing things, setting up like Arya's gonna kill these guys. And which I'm sorry, keep it.
No, go ahead. No, go.
I'm kind of happy that didn't do it. So Arya's just not like she's just gonna kill everyone.
And we need to like keep the fact that like I think that illustrates a point already right there. The fact that all they did was kind of have a little off-kilter conversation, and we were already worried that she was going to kill them.
Yeah.
That's how far she's gone. Mm-hmm. She's at the point now where anytime we see her with a scene, even if someone doesn't deserve to die, we're worried that she's going to kill them.
Yeah.
Because she's getting darker. And that's where I want to talk about right now, because I think this is a very interesting part of it.
What if she kills Podrick?
No, like, I legitimately, like, if I had to, like, put down money on it, I think by the end of this show, we're not going to like Arya.
I think or she's at least going to do something we don't like, because
it's going to be a sad story. Like, she's going to kill someone we like, or she's just going to become like unrecognizable, ruthless, like, revenge machine.
Yeah.
She might complete her list, she might kill all of them, but I think by the end, like, she's going to be depressed, she's going to be crazy, and she's, like, not going to be happy or fulfilled. Like, she's going to be like, what do I do now? You know, it's going to... I don't think her story is going to end happy.
Yeah, this is the thing about Arya's story, and it's better off than it was, like, 2 seasons ago, because I think 2 seasons ago, we get a time like, where are they going with this?
Yeah, they did that.
Like, we don't necessarily we didn't mean that in... But necessarily the way we meet a lot of these storylines, like, where are they going with this? We're like, where are they going with this?
Yeah, it was like, this really, like, seems like we're just stalling around.
I mean, technically, like, her story seems to be, like, the only one who technically is not in the big picture. Yes, she's going to kill Cersei, who's the big player. Like, that's her goal, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
And killing Walder Frey's, and killing all the Freys is pretty big, but it's just now starting to kind of get like that.
Yeah, and, again, what will be the end, like, goal / thing for Arya?
Right.
Does she maybe kill like things fail for Cersei, and then Arya sneaks in and kills her, and then she dies there somehow?
Kills her before Daenerys, because that's the only like her going to try to kill Cersei earlier in the show would have been a much bigger deal, but right now everyone's trying to kill Cersei.
Yeah.
When you talk about like the players in the game, you're lucky to find someone who doesn't want to kill Cersei at this point. And so
will Arya meet her siblings again? Like, because it's not like she has she has no plans to go back to that, and there's nothing that really makes us think that that's going to happen.
And I was hoping that she was going north, but as soon as she said she was going to King's Landing, I was like, yep, like she's only thinking about revenge. She's not even thinking about her family at this point. She's just thinking about
I remember I asked you this earlier, so sorry if I already did. Cersei's the only one left on her list, right? I guess technically the Hound, but she thinks he's dead.
Oh boy,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, either like that or there were very few other ones. Was the Mountain on her list?
Probably, maybe. I think so.
Which
he
died technically.
Good luck, Arya, with that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to get to Cersei, she's gonna have to get through that. So.
Unless she steals someone's face, that Cersei. Knows.
Oh, too bad they already asked. She stole Tommen's face to mess with Cersei.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that'd be so messed up.
Yes, that's why they should have done it. It turns out she didn't burn Tommen.
It was a fake.
Oh.
Okay. Well, any other Arya talk?
Nah.
We're gonna have more talk on her. I mean, do you generally agree with me that?
Yeah. I mean. Well, we've talked about this before. Like, I could see her killing Tyrion, Podrick for something. I mean, I have no particular reason for Podrick. I can see that's just happening for some reason. I don't know why. Because everyone loves Podrick.
Yeah, it'd be depressing.
Yeah, but I mean, she has no reason to see Tyrion's any different than any other Lannister.
Yeah, right? She could just especially since she's been out of this for a long time, and also. If you ask just common people, everyone hates Tyrion because everyone thinks that he's this monster that, we love Tyrion, but in the world, no one knows that Tyrion's actually a good dude. So, she could, maybe when she's in King's Landing, she kills Cersei, Daenerys takes over or whatever, and then that could be, the end of an episode. It's Daenerys comes, takes King's Landing, yay, it's good, someone kills Tyrion. And then, reveals Arya, and we're all just sitting there staring at the TV screen oh my god.
How will cool Alex react to that?
Oh, how will I react to that? I'll have to, walk down
Arya's,
the street.
his favorite character, so it's how do I feel about Arya?
So conflicted. I don't know how he feels about Tyrion, but it does sound like he's more of an Arya fan than anything. I will, at that point, I wouldn't be able, Arya would be...
Dead to me.
I'd be like, someone kill this girl. I'd be like, I don't care. Yeah. All right. Let's move on, Jeff. We're already...
To I guess, more jolly storyline.
Good old Sam.
Yep. Jolly for us, but not for him. His life's miserable.
That montage was so good. It had a beat to it.
It's kind of interesting the fact that it's so different than everything else in the show. The feeling of it is it fits Sam so much.
It does. Sam is so different than everything else in the show.
But his part is one of the most important right now.
Yeah, it really is. Surprisingly, really important. And I just love how goofy he is. But poop buckets, Jeff.
Poop buckets.
Oh, it was so gross. After a while, you couldn't tell when he was pouring out poop and when he was pouring out food. You just couldn't tell anymore.
It just goes right through you, man. And looks the same.
It was just slosh, scrub. That was pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just talk about poop buckets for the rest of this podcast.
Let's do it. Okay, but let's talk about real things.
All right.
Like books and how he stole them.
He stole them, which Sam likes to steal things. I think Sam's a klepto.
Maybe.
Stealing swords, stealing books.
But in his defense, he's doing it for the greater good.
I don't think he had to steal that sword. I think that was a personal vendetta thing against his dad. But the books were for the greater good, yes.
Yeah.
So I imagine that's gonna come back. That might be how we accelerate him going back to the wall as he gets kicked out of this.
Yeah, I was saying, I feel like, that's gonna have some significance. I feel
that's how I see it happening, because I was thinking Sam is probably gonna end up back at the wall at some point, and that could just accelerate this process.
Yeah. And we already saw he doesn't technically need to be there, or not necessarily at the wall, but in Winterfell with Jon.
Like his he went to write the
Raven.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm trying to think, and obviously tell me if I'm wrong. This is Sam know Jon's in Winterfell and is the king of the North at this point, or would have any way to know that other than I guess he's
I mean, I was about to say, like, I would imagine the hype, like, they would hear about that, Citadel, but at the same time,
they haven't made any mention of it, so.
And remember when Sam first got there last season, they didn't even know that, the Gior Mormont had, died, like, the old, commander of the Night's Watch had died. Like, he said that Jon was the commander, and he said, that's not in their books, like, they didn't even know that, so who knows.
Yeah.
Grant, like, Cersei knows. So, like, there's a good chance that he would hear too, but
yeah, I'm still remembering, like, I guess the order things happened, or everything last season. So we have, from what I can remember, no way to exactly tell that Sam knows, Jon's down there. So he might be sending the Raven to the Wall when Jon's in Winterfell. So Jon might be getting 2 very important ravens soon.
Yeah.
From the Wall.
Hey, yo, your brother's here.
By the way, we know where that fancy glass of dragons is.
Yeah, so maybe pay a visit.
Yeah. It's important stuff.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to the actual important thing that we got from Sam.
Yeah.
There's dragon glass, potentially dragon glass, and dragon stone.
Potentially, because we don't know if that information is outdated.
Yeah. Where Daenerys just landed. So, what the most exciting thing about this to me...
Okay, should we just wrap Daenerys' part in this? Since that's her whole thing.
Yeah. But, well, alright, so Daenerys lands,
which we were very happy with.
Okay, I mean, well, right now, we'll talk about Daenerys. Alright, so the very end. I mean, obviously that's what you end on. Obviously. Yeah. Like, we all knew that was coming, and even knowing it was coming, like, I had goosebumps.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, it's the same thing when the season ended with her on the boat there.
And you're like, she's going to Westeros.
It's something we knew was happening, but the fact it's happening after all this time and you're actually seeing it.
Right, and it's crazy. And, like, I mean, they did everything, like, that was all, like, how long that lasted was very fan service.
Again, our friends who had not watched Game of Thrones were like, this is boring, when's it going to end?
Yeah. I mean, like, even her, like, touching the ground or whatever and doing all that. And because
opening all them doors.
And it was so slow, and, like, the music, like, I liked it. It was, like, her theme, but it was, like, very, like, soft, and I liked the music a lot in that scene. And it was just it was fan servicey, but it was so well done. Like, I was so excited, and it just...
See, Japan, that's the good kind of fan service.
And, like, see her walking through the wall, you see all the dragons, like, the statues of the dragons and everything, and it's just, like, this is her birthright. Like, this is her,
and going, when to go to the throne room, go to the side, and I guess the war room.
Yeah.
Where they strategize, like, which stuff's about to go down.
Yeah. Which I like that it looks exactly how, like, it's been a while since we've seen Dragonstone in the show. The last time was when Stannis was there, but it still looked the same. So I was glad that continuity, like, it still looked like a recognizable, like very recognizable. That war room and that whole room, like I mean, not really much to the scene, but it's just like, all right, business is happening. Like, we're getting
kind of the whole thing. You can kind of say the same thing with, I guess, the way last scene ended with her on the boat. Yeah, we knew she had to land, but that's just telling us next time you see Daenerys, stuff's happening.
Like, and it got me, like, with everything. I'm so excited about everything, but, like, I'm most excited to see what she does. Like, she was already, like, one of my favorite characters, and then now this. We've just been waiting so long for this.
Now let's go back to Sam and the Dragonglass and, I guess, Jon.
Right. So this ties an obvious connection between Jon and Daenerys, like a reason for them to meet.
Yeah, like, we knew it was gonna happen at some point, but this gives us.
But I was honestly wondering how exactly they would, because, like, I thought Daenerys was gonna land, and her main focus was gonna be Cersei, and I thought Jon's main focus was gonna be the White Walker. So I was like, are they not gonna meet until after this? Like, what's there gonna be their reason? But now, if Jon, like, in having the Dragonglass, he was even saying, like, everyone check all the records for Dragonglass. Like, they said that at the very, like, beginning of the show. That's
setting up, like, that's Jon's goal, get this Dragonglass.
And, like, it's like a life or death thing. Yeah. We need this stuff. So, there's, like, even if, like, he's like, okay, cool, dragon glass, and then they hear Daenerys landed. He has to say, oh, well, we have to try. We have to try to talk to her. We have to, there's no way you can say, oh, well, I guess we can't because it's life or death.
Yeah.
So that will be very interesting. And I think there's going to be
many possibilities with that.
There's so many. I mean, that could go in so many ways. And especially when you add into the mix that Jon is probably about to learn from Bran that he really is Rhaegar and Lyanna's son, that he is actually a Targaryen.
Yeah.
And so that could mean, like, if Jon and Daenerys meet, and Jon knows that, technically, Jon would actually have the better claim to the throne than Daenerys, if we're just looking at the actual laws that you're supposed to go on with this. Mm-hmm. I think me and you both agree. I don't think that Jon would necessarily use that or care, like, to try to get the Iron Throne. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being honest, the only reason Jon would want probably be king of the North right now is just so he has, easier for him to take care of the White Walkers. That's his goal right now.
And that wasn't even he wasn't even vying to be king in the North. They just kind of declared it to him. Whether he wants to keep that, and Daenerys might not be cool with him keeping that. That could be a whole.
I mean, okay, just crazy prediction time. If this is generic happy ending for all, I could see it be, hey, Sansa, you can have the North. I'm just gonna go to the Night's Watch where I feel like I belong.
Right? Yeah, that would be generic happy ending.
Yes,
so
but it's good approach.
And me and Jeff tried to keep our conversations for the podcast, but one thing we did talk about was, I wonder if, even if Jon says to Daenerys, I don't really care. You can have, even though I'm a Targaryen, you can have the Iron Throne. I could still see Daenerys. Daenerys doesn't know Jon.
Yeah.
So I could see her not believing him or not trusting him and thinking, really, no matter what he says, as long as he's alive, he's a threat to me having the throne. And we've seen that Daenerys can have a crazy streak and, a mad streak.
Also something I think I brought up at some point, we were talking with our friends about it. I could see Daenerys using that over Jon and be like, hey, fight with me against Cersei.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I literally just said, something where Daenerys could kill Jon, and it's equally likely that they could partner up. There's just so many possibilities with this.
So anyone could be fighting anyone. Yeah. There's reason for that. Oh, wait. Okay, just before we go any further, I just thought of something, and Jor-El, or whatever his name is. Daenerys.
Jorah.
Jorah, yeah. Being where Sam is, remember?
Did they say where he was going? Oh wait, she said to go learn about how the cures.
No, remember when Sam went and was getting the plates, the one who his hand went out there and he always had the skin.
Oh wait, yeah, I completely forgot about that scene.
It's such a short one. All this stuff happened,
and his hand was all messed up. I completely forgot about that. Yeah,
it's I forgot. That's where he is.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole nother thing.
Does that tie into all this? Potentially.
Does Sam have grayscale now?
I don't think did he touch him?
I thought he did. He might not have touched his skin. He might have touched his clothes.
We'll check that afterwards.
Yeah, we should go look back at that footage, because that'd be bad.
Yeah. I feel ashamed I couldn't get the name exactly right. I'm bad with these names.
There's so many names. Don't worry. But I completely forgot about that scene. I would have just gone there.
Yeah, I was hoping at the end, I'm hoping I'm not the only one who knew. I mean, it was kind of obvious, but...
No, it was. I just kind of forgot that it happened.
Yeah. I just remember, it's we got to bring this up.
Yeah. So, who knows where that's going to end.
Yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm guessing he went there to try to figure out how to cure his grayscale, because that's where all the maesters are and everything. But is he just hiding away? Does anyone know he's there? I don't know.
I don't know any way Daenerys would know. It was you don't come back or pretty much talk to me until this thing is.
Or I wonder if even the people at the Citadel really know, many people. How did he get there? How did he really get in there, and what's going on? I'm interested to know more about that.
I just hope we don't get a giant flashback episode thing. Because we have so little time.
Yeah.
Keep it to stuff I
have a feeling they won't, or at least not for that. If they do,
it's always interesting, what are they going to do with him going on?
Yeah, very interesting.
Sorry, I just remember that figure.
No, we needed to talk about it. The only other thing I think is the Hound. The Hound actually had a decent amount of time in this episode. I
always enjoy more Hound.
Oh, yeah. Everyone loves the Hound. And Hound trying to be a good guy. Like I'm really liking. I'm liking that.
Here's the thing, like he killed a lot of people and stuff, but he was never a bad guy like we think of these other people.
He had
his own code.
And everyone kind of like treats him like he's this monster a lot of times, but he's really honestly already always had like pretty high morals.
Yeah.
Like he's jaded. He's like jaded and like doesn't like really see the good in the world or anything, but he's not evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah. He was sometimes something he may not necessarily want to do for sake of survival and stuff.
Yeah. And like sometimes he has lack of empathy and stuff, but
yeah.
For the most part, he was just doing what he needed, what his job was, and what he was doing to survive. Yeah. And when it went too far, he wouldn't do it. Like in King's Landing, he left.
Yeah,
like, he was just like, screw this, I'm out. And a lot of other situations like that. And his arc has been awesome with that. Like seeing him go from in season 1, he was the awful person who killed Arya's friend. And that's basically all we thought of him. Mm. And then now, like, we love that. So, and, like, that actor is great. The actor is so good at doing it. Like, his voice and, like, his mannerisms are just perfect. Mm-hmm. He's, like, just as sarcastic as Tyrion, and I love it. I love it. Even he was like, don't you want to know how I, like, brought him back to life? He's like, I keep asking everyone, but no one wants to tell me.
Yeah.
That was funny. So, yeah, I mean, his acting was great, but as far as plot, his vision.
Yeah.
And what do you think this means, like, for him and his character going forward? Like, what he saw in the flames? Because we already talked about what that can mean as far as, like, it coming true.
Yeah. I guess it means, like... Okay, I'm wondering, where exactly is... Beric, Hound, and Thoros, or whatever, how you pronounce his name, going? They're going north, right?
Yeah, because Beric and Thoros and all of them, like, they've seen those same visions about the White Walkers, so they're like, yeah, the real war is up north, we need to go help them. So I'm guessing they're heading up to Winterfell / the Wall, like Jon and Sansa.
Yeah, they're having these visions and stuff. Yeah, it probably got something saying, hey, the King of the North is... trying to pretty much do the same thing we are. Let's help him out.
Yeah. So I'm guessing either next week or the week after or something, they're gonna arrive up there. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Like they can't be that far. Like they're in the snow and stuff. Like they're close. I think.
Yeah.
And they were already in the Riverlands, which is not that far away. Mm-hmm. So.
People just coming together.
I mean, I think like the Hound is powerful, and the Hound is like, yeah. So having him on your side and him actually like, believing this stuff, and like him having a purpose at life, because like I think he is kind of depressed a lot of times, or doesn't really know what he's doing in life,
and
and that could be a way to like he's really kind of like the whole arc he's been trying to seek redemption. Like he doesn't really say it out loud, but he kind of is. And this could be a way, like to literally save the world if you're fighting the White Walker.
I'm kind of happy his character is turning more into like us waiting till he fights the Mountain, till he fights his brother. I'm glad like there's more. It's like there's gonna be more to his story than just that. Yeah, that which, yeah, we talked about it. I can mix it. I can't remember if we talked before the podcast or during. Like that was like that may not even happen.
That happened at all. I could see him dying fighting the White Walkers. Like I could see him dying up here before that's ever even like. It was a long shot, but there was a chance of that happening like a few seasons ago or like last season or something like that. Now it's just seeming less and less like a possibility.
Crazy fan theory. I mean, not really crazy fan theory. The only way I can realistically see the Hound fighting the Mountain, they go meet Jon and decide, okay, we have the same goal. Let's work together. And then the whole thing with Jon and Daenerys like, hey, you want this dragon glass, you have to fight for us. And the Hound and them fight with Jon or whatever.
Yeah.
Fight against Cersei, and then happens there. Yeah. That's the only way right now I can see that happening. And it's convoluted a little bit, but I can kind of see it happen.
Yeah, you could. I just wonder if Jon will leave the Wall that long, like to go fight this battle when the White Walkers are coming, but he might not have a choice. We'll see.
Well, all the people Daenerys has, she may not be like, hey, you don't need to bring everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, but I want to say, I kind of want Hound and Davos to interact.
Yeah. I love both.
I don't know how that'll go, but part of me is like,
It's
I want to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also cool around the season. We're seeing everyone come together, which a
People
lot of
who-
people we have never seen. Like, we've been watching these people for years, like in the same hour-long spans.
Yeah.
But we've never seen them together. And in a way that feels weird, but then it feels so good when they actually get together.
All of that, when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I guess they haven't. You know, like,
Yeah, like, these guys don't even know they're alive, / even though they may even exist.
yeah. Well, if you're talking about like the Hound and like Davos, a few seasons ago, they were on the opposite sides of a battle, like in the Battle of the Blackwall there and stuff. It's just like we've come such a long way with all of this.
Yeah, and as far as Jon and Sansa know, Arya and Bran are dead.
Why have I not even thought about this? Brienne's up there. The Hound's going up there.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about that. She's the one, like, she thought she killed him.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be interesting tension, but again, that could be the whole thing where they end up
I'm sure
having to work together. It's like, okay, we have the same goal here.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't end in crazy conflict or something. And like, I don't even know if they were ever really enemies. It was just kind of like Brienne wanted Arya. Arya was with him. It's just like, you know.
Yeah,
so.
Be interesting.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, I think that's all of our points. Any final words on this first episode of season 7?
Okay, I know this is maybe a bad time to bring up potential segments, ways to end podcast.
Not a bad time,
but we can kind of go this. Okay, we got pretty much all the main storylines that we think we have at this point in this episode. I guess we can see how it goes. Which ones do you definitely want in the next episode? / which one do you think may not make it, or which ones do you don't care as much if it's excluded?
Well, I feel like we could have Sam completely gone. Like, I feel like
I think he'd been gone for episode 2, like
several, because
as long as someone gets the letter he sent, that's fine.
I want Bran. I want to see what happens with that, and like I want to see like Bran talking to someone about Jon's parents and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like unless like they go very heavy like all episode with 2 out of these 3, that Jon, King's Landing, and Daenerys, like they all have to be in the every episode of this point.
I want at least decently heavy Daenerys episode next week. And I thought that this was great. Like to end on her, and that's the only thing you show. I think that's good for this week, but I want next week. I want to see. Okay, now that she's here, where are we going?
And I think to get them to the same point, that's all they need to do to set up Daenerys to going forward to keep things uneven.
I honestly think like we hit all the points, like all the different storylines this week, but I think, especially since it's only 7 episodes this season, I think going from here, you're going to see a lot more of just Jon, Cersei, and Daenerys.
Yeah, especially since... Yeah, I'm going to take control of your mouse for a second. Yeah, most of these are heading towards the same thing. We'll probably get some updates on Arya throughout.
Like, I think like some of these will probably like skip an episode here or there, but I think those 3 are going to be the ones you see like...
Yeah, for people who didn't keep track, I mean, we kind of combined some storylines like Bran and White Walkers put into the North and stuff, but we only have like 6 sections for this thing, and unless we're really forgetting something, that's like all the major storylines, it seems like.
Yeah. But I think they're going to be together. Even more narrow next week, probably.
So, again, that's why I'm more okay with the less episodes, because we have so few storylines. That means we get longer for each one at this point.
And like, and they did like a lot of the setup they needed to do this week. So I feel like from here on out, it's kind of going to be like hit the ground running and going straight.
Yeah, I guess if they had to, they had to take some out for next week. Arya, Sam, and Hound could all take a break.
Yeah, I almost feel like Arya, we're just going to see a lot more of just her popping up places. Like, I don't know if we're going to see a lot of her, like, traveling and all that stuff. Maybe. I mean, like, who knows? But, I don't know. It's Game of Thrones. The possibilities are always kind of crazy, but I feel like this season, more than ever, there are so many different ways that are so drastically different that all seem equally feasible to me.
Mm-hmm. And we keep, in a way, we keep on saying, like, even during this podcast, when we talk, like, oh yeah, we kind of know the path to go. It's like, when we talk about, it's like, No, I mean, there's some general things like potential battles, but at the same time, who's involved in those battles and whose side people are on, it's like all these different combinations are feasible. The only ones for sure is people against White Walkers / Daenerys against King's Landing.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that obvious, but like, again, like we said, who's Jon going to be in battle between Daenerys and King's Landing? Like, how's he going to be involved in that?
Yeah. It's fascinating.
I know I was wondering, like, is he going to be involved in this at all? How that's going to go? But Dragonglass, they set that up like, okay, he's going to be involved in this some way.
And like with Daenerys, and it's awesome. I think this was, this was definitely like one of the great Game of Thrones episodes, especially for an opener. I think it was an awesome opener to a season.
Yeah, I mean, other than the beginning, it didn't have like the big like OMG moments, but there was a lot there and a lot of setups where you see going to make you think, and I can't think of anything necessarily that was out there and crazy.
Yeah, besides Ed Sheeran.
So like,
yeah, but like every section had like some emotional weight.
I was trying to say like story rise.
Yeah, that. Every one of these had like emotional moments to me, or like powerful things. Even it wasn't flashy. It wasn't the Septa Baelor blowing up in wildfire. It wasn't these crazy things, but it was solid setup.
Yeah.
So.
Every time it changed a scene, like this this person's perspective or whatever is going on. Who's going on with them?
Yeah. Yeah, I was never like, oh, we have to do this now.
Yeah, that happened before, but again, there's so few storylines at this point, they all have importance.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Arya right now, I don't know. It's still a little confusing on that end.
Yeah, it is. Well, Jeff, that's about it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We went an hour and 7 minutes.
Longer than the episode.
It's what happens. It's Game of Thrones. We're way too into this, so hope you're up for like deep dives like this, because honestly, I don't think I want to do it any other way. Like I feel like I don't want to just condense our conversations into a tiny like 40-minute thing when it doesn't make sense, or a tiny like 20-minute thing when it doesn't make sense. So.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening. We're going to be doing this for every single episode all throughout this season.
6 more episodes.
So definitely keep up with those. If you're looking for it on podcast, it's Nerds at Large Spoilercast, or just Nerds at Large on YouTube. And let us know what you thought about this episode.
Yep. Let us know if you may want something different with the structure.
Yeah. We're totally open with this.
Yep.
So, Nerds at Large on Twitter. Hit us up.
Yep, hit us up. Yep. Follow us on Facebook and all that kind of fun things.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.